We are talking about getting exposed, but not the conversation prior to us going live. We're talking about, do you really want the life that you say that you want? It goes from preparing yourself, which has been the previous podcast that we've had, in order for us to go into 2026. Everybody has a lot of goals. It's around the time everybody is goal planning or they're creating their vision boards. But what does it take for you to actually achieve that? And are you really honest about what it's going to take for you to get there? So do you really want that life? That's what we want to talk about today. We'll go ahead and let our guests introduce herself, let everybody know what you do, where they can find you, since you are our first time guest coming out here.
Well, I'm honored. I didn't know I was the first guest. Hi, my name is Tailor Laverne. I work with Goosehead Insurance with the Altus Agency. You can find me online. I guess my Instagram is tai.lor. It's my only website. You were talking about recently how social media is the new website, right?
Yeah.
So there we go.
Hey, she watches our podcast.
Yeah.
There we go.
I do my homework.
See, I do upload the videos.
Barely,
right? She just got it on the most recent one that we just uploaded. So really what I want to talk about, I think we had this conversation yesterday at our team meeting, right? It's about what are you doing to prepare yourself for that life, for those goals that you're going to put into play at the beginning of the year. Really, for us here as the company, we do it around this quarter, the end of the last quarter, the Q4.
I didn't know that this was going to be a tagline for the year, but I spent 6 years at a 2-year community college, and this is what I learned. there's this one class that I keep talking about, and it did help me a lot, honestly. And it was the learning frameworks class, and it's the frameworks of how you're supposed to set up your life. And why I did like this class, it put life into perspective for you of how fast things move, especially after like high school. I feel like just the hours took so long, and then like everything was just like took so much time. And now your days are just flying, your weeks are flying, your years fly. And something that I learned or that I did in that class is that I made a plan for how I wanted my life to look. Along with, our business plan, kind of set up around that same time in 2010. We have a structure for growth. We have expectations for ourselves. We have a place that we want to go. And we have a vision for ourselves as far as where we want to end up at. And I do believe that everyone's timeline is different, and everyone's time, comes at a different time. But I'm ready for the moments when they come because I'm planning for them. I've prepared for where I want my business to go. I'm prepared for where I want to go. And honestly, if you don't prepare, you're going to fail. And that was the saying that everyone says it, right? But it's if you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail, and that's more true in avoiding that imposter syndrome or that getting exposed. If you're ready for those moments, then you're ready to attack. Nothing catches you off guard.
Mm-hmm. Taylor, what did you do to get yourself prepared for this new venture that you're in? Because this is something new for you, correct?
It's fairly new. I got into insurance in May. I got licensed with life and health, and then I got into property and casualty, got licensed with that in August, I believe. It's been a quick run. I pick up things fairly quickly. I will say, I'm a really great test taker, so getting my license, not to brag, but getting my license was easy. But it's been fun. What did I do to prepare? I just, studied. There's a quote that's been circulating a lot. It's, you pray to catch the bus and you run as fast as you can. You don't pray to catch the bus and then stroll down the street. You pray to catch the bus, run as fast as you can, and then if you miss the bus, it's not your bus. So all you can do is literally the most that you can. And then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Mm-hmm. But if you're doing absolutely the most that you can to better yourself at all times, that means working out, getting your mind right, talking to the right people, surrounding yourself with the right people, putting yourself in spaces that are going to lead to your success. It's going to work out for you. Yeah. If that makes, I don't know if that even answered your question, but yes. That's kind of how I got into the insurance space I kind of just started to shift. I was a teacher before. I loved teaching, but I wanted to get into a sales role where I was helping people, and insurance is that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're not one of those wealth insurance people?
Wealth?
Where they try to pass insurance as a wealth.
As an investment vehicle?
No, I'm a property and casualty broker. So I actually we look at a ton of different carriers. We try to get people the best coverage and the best rate. And at the end of the day, if we look at someone's scenario and we can't beat it, then we just tell them hey, you need to stay where you're at. We can't offer you better coverage.
Taylor was. We had a conversation last week, and you mentioned that you were talking to your client, and you were showing them kind of the policy coverage and how they can, how you can best help them, and they really appreciated the transparency, and that reminded me to. How we do our listing appointments here at Landscape Realty. I do have a listing presentation, I do have a resume, and I have what we do and all those good things. But ultimately, I sit down with the client and I let them select the homes, and I face those tough decisions right then and there. Everyone thinks that their house is the biggest, baddest, most beautiful home in the neighborhood, right? And then when you compare them kind of next to each other, you're like, hey, look, your floor kind of dated. This floor is brand new. And people will look at me in the face and say, my house looks better than that one when this house is completely remodeled. And I'm having to sit down and break those down right then and there and have those conversations there to let them know that, hey, what you like and what the market likes are not the same, and you're not gonna make the money. And it's always a difficult conversation to have with clients, but I do it the same way. I kind of open up all the comparables and I literally compare their house to it. And try to get them to come to the best solution on their own. So I was really impressed by that.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And I feel like a lot of people, it depends on people's personality types, right? Some people are just look, I trust you, do whatever, tell me the basics, we're good. Cool.
Yeah.
Done deal. Oh, this house is in good shape, whatever, I'll take your word for it. Some people want to see play-by-play, and that's something reasonable that you can ask. So you kind of have to know who you're talking to. I have a friend, and every time I do their insurance, I meet them somewhere and I show them on my laptop what we're looking at, all the variables, what changes the price, what makes a difference, how if you were to get a roof replacement, would that make sense for you financially to save this much on your insurance? I'm sure that that's something that you've used in negotiation in a different light for real estate.
I actually didn't even consider those factors in insurance, so I think that would be beneficial in the real estate market. That's pretty cool. I never really considered that, because I can argue for a roof replacement on a home, drop the payment down on the insurance a little bit, maybe they qualify for a little bit more. I don't know. Never really thought about those things.
Same.
Yeah, and that's one thing, what Taylor was saying, is that she actually goes and puts herself in front of the client that she's helping out. And I think this is probably something that you've set up on the back end. It's a decision that probably nobody sees, that you're you know what, this is how I want to treat my clients, how I want to present myself. There's plenty of agents that just do it over the phone, right? But this is a personal decision that you made for that.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Oh, sorry. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of times where, I'm doing deals over the phone, and some clients are so busy, they're on the golf course, and they're texting me. I've done entire deals mostly over text up until I run them through the last things. We're on a phone call, 5 minutes, run you through the ins and outs, quick overview. Everything's good. Other people, they want to meet in person. Absolutely, I can do that. I'm not driving to, Texarkana. I live in Houston, Texas. But, if we can meet somewhere in the area, absolutely.
She said, but if the policy's big enough, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. We can make it work. We can make it work. Meet in the middle.
I like to put Nate's business out there and not my own, but Nate's one of those guys that just trusts his insurance person, and I think we found out that he was kind of double charging you or something like that.
Yeah, he was double charging me some stuff. Actually, he was a friend for a long time.
Yeah.
And he would do strange things. He did something super strange that apparently is a big no-no in the insurance. But
what did he do?
He put an insurance, a life insurance policy on my what?
I have a story about this.
So he put a life insurance policy on my I guess my account. I have a bunch of cars. I have a lot of cars and homes. And then so I never pay attention. I just it just gets paid. And so then one day he finally pissed off my wife, and we started putting everything towards Cynthia, right?
Yeah.
And so then it just came down to, I said, hey, you know what? Just leave him a couple of cars. Don't take everything from him. So she left 3 cars with him, or 2 cars with him. And so then my wife wanted to know whose car was this. There's another policy that was getting charged, and I said, I don't think that's a car. And he goes, and then it turned out it was life insurance, and she was like, why would you get life insurance, and who's the beneficiary and who's what, And so I called him on it, and sure enough, he signed me up for a benefit for a life policy without me even knowing.
Yep. You have to be careful.
And I was like, who's the beneficiary? And he goes, oh, I just put your wife. And I said, bro, I mean, that's kind of strange, you know? Like, I don't understand.
You say you have to be careful for what?
I'm actually so pressed about the same thing happening to me recently, and I didn't find out until just recently. So I was a teacher for 2 years, right? Mind you, I started teaching at the ripe age of 22. I'm 25 now. But anyways, there was a guy that came in whenever I was 23 years old, came into my classroom. He had gone all around the school talking about retirement. He's like, he was like, I highly recommend you put, $500 a month towards your retirement, whatever. And I was like, whatever. I mean, I don't think I'm going to teach forever. Like, let me just do like $200, whatever, call it good. He's like, okay, cool. Like, we'll do that. Just sign this, let's name a beneficiary or two just in case, your retirement fund's just open and we need someone to take it. Cool. Do all of that. Go to cancel my TRS because I'm not a teacher anymore. And I kept seeing that $200 come out of my account. And so I figured that was teacher retirement systems coming out of my account every month. So I was like, well, I know TRS gets taxed before you're able, like, while it's in the retirement account. So I was like, well, I don't want to be putting $200 a month just for it to get taxed. This was kind of like my thought process there. Which again, all of this was kind of like before I had an understanding of insurance. Whenever this guy came in and talked to me, I look into it and download it. This guy had written me a life insurance policy, not retirement, and he lied to me. But contractually, there's nothing I can do about it except cancel it. So I'm out because I canceled that obviously because that guy lied to me. Some other guy had, the guy lied to me and said it was retirement. It was a life insurance policy. Why do I need a life insurance policy at 23 years old with no children, not even a spouse? That's crazy. But yeah, so be careful, guys. Make sure you read the fine print.
I mean, we've even had these
Shady
conversations.
insurance people, bro.
Yes, with a life insurance guy specifically, right? Who came in here one time, and matter of fact, Nate brought it up, and in my head, I was like, okay, well, it's true because I think he was saying like to pay off your mortgage unless somebody dies, right?
Mortgage
but
protection.
Technically, mortgage protection, right? That's how he was pitching it.
But it is a life insurance
and he was
policy.
saying it in Spanish, right? And he's like, well, for the Hispanic, and Nate was like, well, hold on, well, don't pitch it like that if that's not what it is. And in my head, I was like, okay, well, I mean, it makes sense, but it's true. Like, sit down and explain. You can use this money for that scenario, but that's not necessarily what this is. And Nate had set us down and had that conversation with us. Like, if they come and pitch this to you, it's okay to tell your clients, hey, look, if that's what you want to set up a life insurance for, it's okay. But it's not a mortgage protection. Like, that's not what it is.
Yeah.
That's how they pitch it, but it's not really what it is.
And that's the thing. It's really tough to. So people try, like you just said right now. You said, I'm single, I don't have kids, I don't whatever. So it's hard to sell life insurance to young people. So people try to get creative with it, And that's one of the things that really gets me upset with some of these insurance people that promote it as wealth. I'm like, it's not wealth if you're getting your money when you're 65, right? You didn't use it at all the whole time. I said, invest your money in real estate. Yeah. Don't invest your money in life insurance. Life insurance should be there for exactly for what it is. Don't pitch it as something else if it's not.
Exactly.
And
if I want a retirement plan, I'll just do a retirement plan. Why do I want to do a life insurance policy as retirement?
I have no idea. And then people are like,
that guy has me pressed. That's like an open wound. I'm so mad at that guy.
Do you know that guy?
No, he literally just come by the school and I was on the phone. Apparently he got he resigned. Don't know if that's true, but that's what the guy that was helping me said. So
who was the beneficiary? The school?
No, the beneficiary. They had me named beneficiaries. So it was like my mom, my brother, and my dad.
Because I got life insurance on. I have life insurance on my guys. Like I have life insurance on Vic.
Yeah,
because
that's normal in a business relationship.
If something happens to Vic, right?
Yeah.
My company will suffer. So I need that protection.
Yeah.
And then there's like people that are high liability that I'm pretty sure they're not going to live very long. They get drunk on weekends. I'll put life insurance on them too.
But that's just for fun, though.
That's just for a little extra.
That's just because their mom going to call us anyway, so we got to be ready for it.
I've been able to cash in on one of those. But no.
And we hope that we never will.
I know a lot about insurance because I tried to get into insurance, and what's funny is that life insurance, and I tried to get my life insurance license when I was like 21 or 22.
Yeah.
I failed it twice, and the third time I was like done with it. So getting your life insurance or getting any kind of insurance license is way harder than getting a real estate license. I've always said that, but I was trying to get into that, and I have a couple of friends that are into that. So I know a lot about life insurance, and the way people pitch it, sell it, and the way they just kind of push it on you without telling you everything about it. I think it's crazy.
It's so distasteful.
Yeah. And the guy that was trying to get me to the business, older white guy, he was like,
Yeah.
man, he goes, it's just really hard to sell life insurance to Hispanic people, Latin people. He said
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
They don't want to think about it.
Hispanic people do not want to buy life insurance. They
Yeah.
they don't care. They're like, hey, I'm dead. Everybody,
Said good luck.
Figure it out.
yeah. So I've always known that it's hard to sell to Hispanic people. So that's why I never entered into that business. I mean, not just life insurance, but
Yeah.
just insurance. Period.
Yeah.
Hispanic people, but Latin people don't want to pay it. And so what's funny is that one of my wife's uncles, he has an insurance company, but he only writes policies for people that have like DWIs and stuff like that. He found a niche, so people have to come to him.
And those are expensive policies.
Yes, and so
It's like ridiculous.
That's the only one, in my opinion, or the policy that sells the most in the Hispanic community.
They don't have another option. Yeah.
but-
That's
Turn their
why we
life
have
around.
uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage on everyone else's, I guess.
But I upset a lot of people with the insurance because, well, not a lot of people. The people that
Yeah.
sell it as wealth, the people
Yeah.
that sell it as oh, you got to understand wealth, you got to understand this, you got to understand. No, I don't. Don't sell something that is or don't paint it for something that it's not.
Yeah.
You're never gonna. But you can borrow money against your life insurance policy. You can borrow money against your home. You could borrow money against anything. You could borrow money against stocks and bonds. You could borrow any. I mean, don't sell life insurance like that. But people do.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why I didn't spend that much time doing life and health. I mean, I got into it, learned about it, realized what was happening for like a month or two and the trainings that were happening. I was like, I'm going to go to property and casualty.
Was this with the same company?
No. I mean, Goosehead, we don't push it at all. It's just a service that we provide. It's like the easiest thing. It's like a link that we send to people and they can just fill it out, see what their rate is, whatever. We don't press it, whatever, but it's there. It's something that we offer, but we say it is what it is. Like, hey, it's life insurance.
Yeah.
But again, everything that we do at Goosehead is extremely transparent as well.
Where I was laughing earlier because Taylor was mentioning that she was a good test taker, and you were asking about what she did to prepare for this role. She gets online and she takes aptitude tests to get herself ready for these interviews. And I was mentioning to Taylor that I have failed every aptitude test that I've ever taken. I was telling her about we can't name the business partner that we wanted to bring in, but she was like, we're not going to be a good fit for each other. And she said that me and Nate were both too toxic for her.
Yeah, that's why we're not hiring you.
Look, people always made me feel better. They said that the roles that I was applying for, that I wasn't qualified for that because I should just have my own stuff. So I
Your
was
aptitude test was saying that you were chewing on rocks in the back of the classroom.
It said this guy,
The placement test.
Yeah.
The placement test.
300
Didn't you
SAT score.
You failed the Walmart aptitude test, right?
I did.
They wouldn't
Walmart
hire
has one?
They
No
wouldn't
way,
hire you.
yeah.
I wanted to be a greeter. And they said I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, now the second phase of this, right, is okay. You already set up what you want to do. You've embraced it. You're willing to do what it takes. But character, whenever you're on your off days, meaning whenever it's time to work, no matter what, you're still going to show up and work. And I think that's one thing that whenever you're in your quote unquote your own business, every realtor likes to say that they're their own business, right? But if you can't work on the days whenever you feel like crap or you feel down, depressed, whatever it may be, then are you really meant to work for yourself? And I think that's one question. Like, how do you make it? How do you break through that barrier? I've had conversations with realtors before where they're like, oh, well, this is happening right now. Like, I don't know how to show up to work still. And I don't know, maybe it's because of like the way I was raised. Like whenever I had a bunch of family members pass away back to back, for me, the only way I knew how to deal with it is just show up to work and like don't think about it.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you guys do in order just to keep pushing whenever you don't feel like showing up?
I like to curl up in a little ball at home and not show up.
I like to work and have a bottle next to me and just keep pouring.
I think that attitude never changes, right? It's just like
your attitude.
yeah, I don't think that attitude ever changes. If you curl up, in a little ball, that's just always gonna be you. But no, it's just I think it's like your Uncle Chuy, right? That guy will go to work every day, no matter what, every day. I mean, the guy had cancer, brain cancer, and he wanted to go to work, and he was upset because they wouldn't let him go. That's how he would deal with things, and so that's a work ethic, right? So even if you're an entrepreneur or you're an employee, that still carries on with you, So I don't think that. I think that the work ethic is just one part of it. Now, being an entrepreneur, right, is different. That takes flexibility, and just because you have great work ethic doesn't mean that that you're going to be a great entrepreneur. Because some people with great work ethic still just have to be told what to do, or they won't do anything. And those are the ones that we always talk about, and I think you've brought it up before. Those are the ones that are supposed to, or what do you say, the entrepreneur.
Yeah,
that's the entrepreneur. That's the one that has to attach himself to an entrepreneur and be that support base for them, and they will both be successful. But as far as I mean, it's just entrepreneurs just thrown out there so loosely now. Everybody's an entrepreneur. Everybody's this. Everybody's that.
People will be a bookie. Illegally in Texas, I'm an entrepreneur.
But realistically, how I can tell.
That felt like a shot at somebody.
Yeah, that was a shot. I can tell who's not an entrepreneur. Okay, if you want to know who's not an entrepreneur, go on your social media feed.
Anyone who has it in their bio.
That's a good one.
That's a clue. But if you want to know who's not an entrepreneur, look at their social media. If you see them out on a holiday, if you see any photos of them with the big old birthday cake in front of their face, if you see them hanging out, and just getting drunk at the club and doing all these crazy things, and they're not in that industry, those are not the entrepreneurs. Those are the tourists. Those are the ones that, when the market is really good in a certain industry, they will thrive and they will make money because they know the right people and they have the right attitude. But whenever things change and it starts getting hard and there needs to be actual applications of work, training, and work ethic,
strategy,
then those are the ones that'll go and get their insurance license. No, I'm not throwing a shot at you.
Not a shot at you. I was actually talking to somebody who just got their license in real estate, and they were telling me that, because I'm pretty, like, maybe not harsh. I don't want to say that I'm harsh on my realtors, but a lot of times, like, I don't like to deal with the emotion side unless they're making money. If you're making money and you have an emotional problem, then I'm like, okay, we got time for it, right? But if you're not making money, like, my thing is like, okay, well, you have to cut off the emotional side because you're just going to continue to dig a hole for yourself. So what I told them, what I told them, I was like, look, because they started talking to their family members, and they were like, oh, well, this person tells me that, you should take my feelings into consideration. And I was like, look, they have the benefit of having... I was like,
call them over here too.
I was like, they have the benefit of working somewhere that's going to pay them no matter what. They can take a day off and they'll still get paid. Here, you take a day off, you're going to be 2 days behind. You take a month off, you're going to be 2 months behind. So it doesn't matter whether you're feeling good or sad. I'm going to treat you the same way because I just need you to make money. I'd rather you be sad with money in your pocket than happy and broke. Because when you're happy and broke, you're still going to be hungry. And then you're going to come, complaining to me, oh, I don't know what's going on. Well, it's because I sit there and listen to you for an hour versus telling you to go over there and call your clients for an hour, right? So I think that's a major part of working for yourself or just working in sales in general. You have to learn how to shut down those emotions no matter what.
Well, I saw something not too long ago, and it was saying that the more successful you become and you go through a lot, the less empathetic you become, right? And so the reason that is because you know what you've been through, you know what you've done, right? And so whenever somebody comes whining, you're kind of like, all right, I've been there, I already did it, you know. And so you don't have that feeling for them. And it's not that you're a jerk or that you've become numb or that you've become anything than that. You know, you just don't want to. You're not at that level anymore.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You see it from a different
Man, it's because
vantage point.
y'all Mexicans get a little bit of money. Y'all don't know how to act. That's what happens.
That's true.
I was gonna say the only person that I've seen successfully take somebody's feelings into account and also go make money is Vic.
Yeah.
Vic will sit there and listen to you and then be like, "It's okay, come on, you can go make that money."
Yeah.
Vic is really good at that.
That's
So
why
if you
get
have
to work.
emotional problems, Vic
Get out
can
the
help
door.
you out. Yeah,
You
you
get-
got it. You got it.
You get a newbie realtor, right? That comes in and you send him to go drop something off at FedEx, and it starts raining, and he goes out in the rain, drops off this package, comes back all wet, and
melted sugar
he's just
cube.
happy to be here, right? Same guy makes a little bit of money, and he's going to the store ready to get a coffee. Say, hey, can you bring me a coffee? He's like, I don't work for you. Oh, okay.
No,
I brought you a
yeah.
coffee
I'm my
today.
own boss.
I was like, bro, you got a Keurig over there.
Money changes people.
Money does change people.
Yeah, now every chance I get to send a realtor out in the rain, I send them. Even if I don't even send the package back.
No, to touch back on entrepreneurship, I like to say that in business, a lot of people think that they're the gladiators. They think that they're the ones that are fighting and pushing and innovating and being creative. And they feel that they're the gladiators, but 9 times out of 10, most entrepreneurs are spectators. They're sitting on the sidelines. They're not pushing the needle. They're not bringing anything to the market. They're not, inventing new things. They're not trying. They're just spectating, and they're enjoying their time there. And I think to be an entrepreneur, you have to have that gladiator in you. You have to be ready to fight. You have to be ready to, die by your own sword. You have to be ready to do a lot of things. It's difficult. It's difficult. You'll make a bad decision and you got to live with that and you got to figure out how to work away from there. And they don't. They make the bad decision, things get hard, and they quit, and then they start talking crap about the industry, or they start talking crap about entrepreneurs. And it's just like, bro, just because it went bad for you doesn't mean it's going to go bad for everyone, and just because you gave up doesn't mean I'm going to give up, and those are different things. I think there's a certain fire in a certain person that is an entrepreneur, and I think it's something that shouldn't be taken lightly. I do get upset, at people with their bios and things like that, and it's funny. It's just like, what do you know? Like, what do you do? And then everybody can get lucky too, like people get lucky and make good money and they don't know how they did it.
I had to grammatically correct Vic's bio the other day.
Yeah.
Did you really?
The Lionsgate one.
It actually wasn't mine.
I
It was like
proofread it.
Terrible.
I was like,
Terrible.
she said, go on ahead and give me your login to your Facebook too, because this one's even worse.
But you see, that's
the
the
link didn't work. Nothing.
that's the kicker, right? And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Failure or failing at something, being broke, falling on your face, that has to happen to be an entrepreneur.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You can't be an entrepreneur without that happening. If you've never pawned your chain, if you've never, freaking borrowed money from somebody, if you've never, went from eating steak one day to eating a burger, for a week, I mean that you haven't risked anything.
Yeah.
You haven't learned, because that's the one thing with being an entrepreneur is you're literally depending on yourself.
Yeah.
You're not dependent on anybody else. You're not looking for a check. You're not showing up somewhere and getting paid for your time. You're literally dependent on yourself, and it's easy to fall back. And I always talk about, I don't know if you guys know what Chutes and Ladders is, right?
I've heard of it, but I don't know how to
Chutes
play.
and Ladders is
The board game?
I'm super old.
You know what that board game
You know
is?
what that game is?
I was at a dart bar the other day. It's called Flight Club. It's actually, I love playing darts, and they had a Chutes and Ladders one, but I was so lost. So I think that's probably before my time.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
definitely.
before your time. It was before mine.
It's before your time. No. So, I mean, Chutes and Ladders is Chutes and Ladders is a very, very basic game, and maybe if you guys would have had Chutes and Ladders, there'd be more entrepreneurs in this world. But essentially, it was a dice throw, and if you fell on one that had a ladder, it would push you up. But if you fell on one that had a slide, you'd slide down right back to where you started. And there was a real big chute or a slide right at the top, right before you would win. And if you fell on that one, it would literally throw you all the way to the bottom. And I remember that game. it teaches you a lot, right? About about rolling dices, right, or taking risks. But that's how this game is.
Yeah.
You don't understand how hard and how from how high you can fall.
Yeah.
Right. By making the wrong move, by shooting the dice, because when you get to a certain point, there's no reason to be shooting dice anymore.
Yeah.
It's time for you to use the experience, the strategy, and your contacts.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to utilize any of that, then you're not an entrepreneur. You never were. You're like what is the word you just said?
You're a spectator.
You're a spectator. You're a spectator in an industry. So as a spectator, step aside. Don't try to do all these things. Don't sell mastermind classes of the stroke of luck that you had, right?
I mean, some people are killing it on TikTok.
They
selling
are.
online
They
classes.
are. And
Man, Shelby Sapp.
No, share. I need
Shelby
to look at that.
Shelby Sapp.
Shelby Sapp.
I don't
Y'all
know.
haven't heard of
What
her?
did she do?
She hasn't. I mean, girl's got it going on.
What did she sell? What did she sell?
So her whole thing is high ticket sales, but the
blonde
thing
girl.
is, blonde girl Shelby Sapp, she's gorgeous.
You shared her before.
Whole thing is high ticket sales, except I don't know, but I'm pretty sure like the main source of her income right now is selling these classes.
Oh yeah.
I think it started off as high ticket sales. She got good at it, and then now she's just selling it on like.
Was it not the? She's not the realtor lady.
No. This girl, she did high ticket sales, right? But from what I understand, if it's the same one, the blonde girl, I think she lives in Florida, right?
I don't know.
I think so. If it's the same one, she just got caught up like scamming. So she's
didn't know that.
not the salesperson. I think her husband or her boyfriend was the sales guy. She was the one who could articulate the training courses and could sell to women.
So she didn't have.
So she took
she
his
sells the
training
course.
and sells the courses, and she talks like she's a salesperson, but everybody found out that it was her boyfriend or husband or her partner, whatever it was.
If they
was the
bought from
actual
her,
sales
she's the
guy.
salesperson.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. But it goes back to like what we had
And
in the
it's all
conversation
marketing.
last time, right? Is that
It's all
she
marketing.
just took his sauce and was able to sell it
Yeah.
online versus he can close in person the actual high ticket items, but she can close people who don't know about it.
I thought about that because the thing is this, like
She's using internet sales, and I feel like that's where a lot of money. That's where
Yeah.
a ton of money is doing online sales.
We had our training yesterday, and one of our realtors, she has quite a bit of followers, and she got on live, and she was like, "Bro, like 3 people were reaching out to me asking me if they can like if you can give them like the information or like the course information." I was, it's not a damn course, it's our training. Tell them to get I was like, tell them get their real estate license. They come to my office every Tuesday.
I've thought of that already.
They said, "What
because
church are you at right now?"
Yeah.
I get a lot of heat, right? A lot of people say that that I guess I'm anti-woman or I'm a chauvinist or whatever. I don't even know what the word. I don't even
They
know
say that, but what do you say?
I say I'm
He's
a
a
woman
gripper.
I'm a woman empowerment supporter.
Where's your
you know?
T-shirt?
Actually, I do have one.
I was joking.
I do. I support women. I love women. And so the thing is this.
I support men that support women.
I support women's wrongs and rights.
I only support women's rights, not their wrongs. So the thing is this. I get a lot of people don't want to join because they think I'm like that. But I'm like, why don't they do a study of my brokerage and see that the women in this brokerage I have more successful women in this brokerage than men. You know? And so then I was thinking, you know what I need to do is I need to get somebody that they deem as the woman that can lead them, right? And just kind of use that vehicle to train some of these people, because that's all I want to do. I want realtors to learn how to sell without selling themselves.
Yeah.
And let me get that straight, right? Because when you're selling, you're supposed to sell yourself, your personality, your experience, but I'm talking about like not sell yourself, because that's not what this business is about.
Yeah.
And I can't, and I have trained people on how to sell and not do those things. It takes time.
Absolutely.
And it takes, you're gonna go through those pitfalls, but those pitfalls are needed for you to be able to develop a career here.
Yeah.
If not, you're gonna get old and then you can't sell nothing, and then you won't even have the experience to back you up. So it's just.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if people can't beat you, they're gonna try to attack your character.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's just what people are gonna do. So of course they'll be like, that's such an easy thing to say to men. He's a woman hater. Like, whatever. But obviously, actions are more important than.
I think
anything, so.
I think we say not only do we support women, and back to what Nate is talking about, realtors in general, we want to hold a standard for what a realtor is. And it comes to professionalism, accountability, integrity, the things that they do to make them a good agent. We want to hold the line. And that line is gender neutral. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. We want you to be good. We want you to dress nice. We want you to be, conservative in how you look and how you present yourself, and make sure that you're doing a good job, of not, overshowing and I think everyone says, sex sells and stuff. And I think some of these realtors kind of take that line all the way to the wrong side. And this business used to be a great business, and there were standards, and people would make you feel embarrassed for doing some of these dumb stuff that is acceptable now. And I hate to sound like those old guys talking about the old days, but things were a lot more fun then. The events were better. Information was better. Knowledge was better. Everything, the industry was just in a different place than what it is now. And full transparency, I see it going back to how it used to be.
Same.
Clients are getting tired of everything. They're getting tired of the unprofessional realtor, the part-time agents. They're getting tired of all those things. And we're in a position we're all full-time agents. We have good training. We all have good support, good managers, good system here. We're in a position to kind of fill that void as it's needed.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that this business attracts, especially with like the shows that are out there right now, it attracts the wrong person that should be in this business. Real estate, being a realtor, this is a service role. You're serving the clientele. It's not about you. You're not the star like the shows make it seem, right?
Yeah.
Like Selling Sunset or the other ones. I think the only one that's probably close enough to being realistic is probably Ryan Sarhan's one, the most recent one that he has right now. But Selling Sunset, like, it's about the realtor. It's about the drama. Like, we remove ourselves from that. Our first step, the reason why we dress up professionally, is so we don't alienate our clientele. They're supposed to look at it as, okay, he's professional, I can trust him. Now it's about me, and I'm gonna put my stress onto him or them. And that's what this business is about. It's a service role. It's not about being a star.
That's interesting perspective. I had never thought about it like that. But I have always been told this, and I believe in it wholeheartedly, that real estate, I don't care what anybody says. Real estate is sales. You're selling.
Yeah.
I don't care what. I've had this argument with, and it's always people that have been in the business for 2 or 3 years or less. Never anybody who's been in the business for a long time. Real estate is a sales position. It's a job. Okay. But the one thing that I was told a long time ago that I didn't understand fully until now is that sales is for the beautiful. Okay. And people, it's a job for the beautiful. And I always thought, oh, okay, we have to be good looking. You have to be this. No, that's not what it is. It's the person's personality, the way he treats people, the way that they carry themselves, the lifestyle that they carry. It's an attractive person, okay? And attraction is not always physical. It's not always exterior or topical, like you say. It's always a person that just captivates you. You know, and we've lost that. We've lost that to dressing, provocative, right? Or getting operations and doing crazy things on Instagram and cussing and attracting attention, and we've lost that. And like you said, it's true. It's getting back to the way things used to be because people are sick of it.
People are starving for authenticity. Like, if everyone has met like the worst person in their entire life, and that person is fake nice. Y'all know, like, the fake. I would rather someone hit me in the mouth than just sit there and be fake nice to me.
Yeah.
Truly, like, I really would. Like, I feel like everyone's met that person, and it's like people see right through that every single time. I mean, maybe once in a while they might beat someone, like they might, I don't know. Whatever. I can always read a room.
Yeah.
But most people see right through that. Like, anytime I'm presenting insurance, I'm again, you just be authentic. You're like, hey, look, I'm telling you this right now. This is what it is. These are your options. Happy to look at it, whatever you need. I'm sure that that's the way that y'all are too. Whenever y'all are showing people houses, hey, tell them. I mean, y'all are just honest. Y'all are honest, authentic people.
I am typically fake nice though. So
I didn't know she was throwing a shot because I was like, that's big.
You're not fake nice. You're rude to me all the time.
But it's because people think I'm being sarcastic, but I'm not.
So I don't sell houses anymore, or I don't do any of that stuff anymore. But I do now. I'm starting to interview realtors again, and I do deal with realtors, brokers, and you know, just people in the industry, and they don't like that. You know, they're so used to everybody just being so nice to them that when I tell them, hey, you're gonna join here, you're not gonna dress like this, you're not gonna do this, you're gonna take all your garbage down, your you know, crappy logo, your ghetto car, you know, and they get mad. They get upset, and I'm like, hey, look, you want to be a professional? Let me walk you through it. I'm gonna tell you exactly how to do it. It's gonna hurt, but if you do it, you will be successful. And the people that do listen, they're successful. The people that don't listen, they don't join, or they spend a long time in this industry until they finally hit it. And then I'll get that, oh man, you're right. You know how many times I hear you're right? A lot.
Oh, I feel you. Are you talking about the way you present yourself?
Just whatever I tell. They're just what I tell them. They always come back later.
Like new realtors.
Yeah, new realtors have been here for a while. They're like, you know what, man, you were right, man. You were right about this. Oh,
presentation
you're right about
is
that.
everything.
But at first, they're just like, no, that's not what my Instagram realtor that I follow said.
We have agents that come in here. They say, I'll never wear a suit. I'll never do this. I said, then you can't be a part of the company. And they're like, okay. And then we see them 3-4 months down the road, and they're wearing suits. And then we see them like, oh, bro, I only wear suits. I have my staples. I'm like, get out of here, dog.
Yeah, and I always say it's not really about the suit. It's about being presentable. Just because you got a T-shirt that says Louis Vuitton on it or whatever, I don't know, doesn't mean that you're it's class or that you have money. No. And that's the one thing that
could
we
be
have
from DH Gate.
Right?
I like that accent. DH Gate.
DH
Your mom made that at home with her cricket machine.
She made it sound classy.
Bro,
right?
put me down with that connect.
The one thing that we have lost in this country, right, is class.
Oh, absolutely.
It's gone.
100%
It's out the
agree.
door. I mean, people think it's money is class, and it's not.
Well, and a lot of people have been talking about that online. There's just such a disconnect between so many different people. Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know where I'm going, but I think that y'all know what I'm saying.
It's coming
just
back.
Such a disconnect. Class has gone out the window.
Yeah, I think with the decline of like middle class and that kind of disappearing, and then having the separation of class, I think it's really difficult to see that, and then accessibility, I think is really what we're talking about, how everything is so accessible now, and people will save their income tax check to go spend $1,500 on this one shirt, and they'll wear it all year, or just everything is just accessible. And things that were exclusive are no longer exclusive, and where do you do that? That's the tough part. That's the tough part of life and business in general. I feel like there's still a class system because I do things that just regular people don't do.
I mean, we see it with even within our industry, real estate, right? You no longer see 3-bedroom, 1-bath homes or 2-bedroom, 1-bath homes being built, but now they're talking about building starter homes again.
Yeah.
For a time there, it's like, okay, just go with the biggest house you can get because money was cheap. Now that money's expensive, that's when you start seeing those separations within class, because only certain people can afford this, but it's okay because you can aspire to be that. Yeah. You shouldn't be able to afford what this person can afford, and they worked all their life to get that. Like, now that they're starting to be like a starter point, you can work your way up, and now people will appreciate that class system and being able to present themselves in a manner.
You sounded like Nate. When I was younger, I had a beef with my neighbor all the time, and I was like, I don't know why this guy doesn't like me. Nate was like, bro, this dude like saved all his life to buy this house. And it's just some freaking 20-year-old Mexican moves across the street just acting bad as hell.
20-year-old Mexican. He was out there popping bottles, had a motorcycle in his living room, had a freaking just doing dumb stuff, and
just
the guy,
the most annoying neighbor.
He's trying to be nice to them, and I'm like, bro, I mean, these guys, this is their house, their family, and you're just over here 20 years old with a BMW acting up. I said,
burning out, drifting out of your driveway.
Yeah, I said, play low key, man. Like, don't.
I was like, they should have worked harder.
Probably pulling up home from the club at 4 a.m. with the loudest
Easily.
Spanish music you can
Oh
possibly
my
play.
God.
Nate
It was
said,
great
tell them that
times.
this is your dad's house. You know?
Yeah. And I was in the Woodlands, so the safest city in Mexico.
They hated it.
Yeah, Vic had just gotten into real estate, so of course he just came from not having any debt, anything. So all the money he had was for himself. So he got to live it up.
Fun times.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and exit. That was a great episode today. I'm going to let you exit first. That way you can tell them where they can find you and remind them what you do.
Oh, bye guys. My name's Taylor again. I already said this in the beginning, but okay, you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram is tai.lor.
Nice.
I work at Goosehead Insurance, and I'm an insurance broker. All right, thanks guys.
My name is Victorino Cortez. I am the president here at Lionsgate Realty. We are hiring. We are recruiting. If you're looking for a good broker to join, give us a call.
My name is Nathan Valderas. I'm the master broker for Lionsgate Realty. And like Vic said, we're hiring and recruiting, but we're not recruiting people that are already successful in their brokerage. And we're not calling anybody. So don't call anybody from our office, please.
Don't poach. I'm Giovanni, your gracious host here at the HBR podcast. You can find me on Instagram as Giovanni East HTX. And until next time.
I feel like he changes his